time. It's that time. It's this place. It's everything you've ever wanted in the world. It's a monkey's paw that gives you 3 wishes, and those wishes are: let me hear about the news, emails, and what Jeff did last week on the Rage Select podcast. Also, Amanda.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back.
I'm a monkey paw.
To the Rage Select pod. I think I could outsmart a monkey paw, right? Like, you have to make a very specific wish.
I understand what a monkey paw is.
Yeah.
But it kind of sounds sad if that's the bar you're going with.
What's that?
I can outsmart a monkey paw.
I can outsmart a mystical device that gives you fucked up wishes.
Or just a severed monkey's hand.
Okay. Yeah, you just find
I'm pretty sure I can. I can outsmart this rotting piece of a corpse.
There was actually, I don't know, that reminds me of something, but I was going to ask you, what are your 3 wishes when you get the genie out of the lamp?
I want to own the business that I want to own.
Okay.
Which I'm not going to openly talk about here.
Sure.
I want $758.8 million.
Okay, that's a very specific number.
Yes, it is. And I want a new car, just a really good economic car.
Okay.
That I can travel in. That's not a piece of crap because I drive a Nissan Sentra and I want something better.
See, a car, a business, and money.
Yeah.
Couldn't you just get the money and then use the $758 million to buy the business and the car, thereby giving you 2 more wishes so you could use on
I don't want to spend my $758.8 million on like a Honda Civic.
I think you could get a Honda Civic for maybe a little bit less than that.
No, I just want to live a normal, regular life and also have a nice cushion of $758.8 million.
All right. That's great. I would like to be able to fly and never sleep again and be in perfect health for the rest of my life.
Never sleep again?
Oh, man, I do
awful.
not. You know how great this life would be if you didn't have to sleep for 8 hours?
Do you know how boring? I like sleep. It's enjoyable.
I hate it. I
like going to sleep and waking up with my dog laying like halfway on my pillow and kicking me off of my. That's the best.
Oh God, I hate it. I hate it so much. Anyway, welcome to the Rage Select podcast. We got a shitload of news. It was BlizzCon last week. Got a lot of Blizzard stuff. Before we do that, though, I did one thing last weekend that some people might think is no, not that. Interesting. For the first time in living in Austin for roughly my entire life, almost 40 years, I went to Hippie Hollow last weekend.
Oh, yeah, I've never been.
So anybody who doesn't know out there in internet land, this is the clothing optional park beach by a lake where you can jump in the water.
You decided to go to a clothing optional lake.
Yeah.
During like the coldest few days. This
was the last weekend. This was last weekend when it was
so it was still warm.
It was the last like warm day before we finally cold weather is here. Yeah. God damn, I love it so much. So I got to see a lot of wangs.
Yeah, mostly wangs. And one boob.
Mostly people walking around, just dudes. I always feel like it's there's something in my brain that says like wrong, incorrect when you see like a person walking around and they're wearing like shoes and a backpack and like that's it. And I'm just like,
nobody's rocking the fanny pack because I really like the idea of like nothing.
Yeah,
fanny pack.
Nothing with a fanny pack. Yeah. It was I don't know. I'm maybe just not enlightened enough to be able to have like people there seemed like they were very friendly, and then I'm like, I don't really want to talk to somebody when they're just pointing that thing at me. Like I don't know.
I mean, if they're pointing it at you, take a couple steps back.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe.
Wait. So you went to a clothing optional place?
Yeah.
What were your clothing options?
My option was yes, clothes.
My
that was the option that I
to
chose.
Do it.
Yes.
Yeah. Shame. So, should have just gone for it, man.
I wasn't gonna swim. I didn't want to swim, so I don't know.
But don't you want to get like a nice even tan?
We went at like 6 in the evening. Like there was gonna be no tan, but. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back some point later. But you know what? That actually led me to one other quick thing that I would like to point out. That was I never knew this before until somebody told me. Apparently, Austin. There's the Austin subreddit r/Austin. People are shitty pricks on
Why are they taking pictures at Hippie Hollow? Or
No. Everything. like everything. Like somebody made a post on the Austin subreddit that was like, ugh, daylight savings time. That was like, fuck you, daylight savings time is great. Like, you're a piece of shit. I'm going to see if Donald Trump will cancel daylight savings time. And like, fuck you, I will come to your house. And I was like,
so it's just like our entire city is shit piece. I wonder if all the subreddits of every city is like
apparently
awful.
Not. Apparently Austin has like a reputation for being like a real judgmental crap town subreddit.
Wow.
There was
so you're saying we should go on there and take it back? Make it nice, and they'd be like, Austin is the nicest subreddit.
I thought about taking my account onto the Austin subreddit just to go to everything and be like, I don't know. I mean, like, I kind of like daylight savings time, but I can see where you guys are coming
like,
from.
Jump in and like, hey guys, maybe just have a good time.
No. I want to go to every post and I want to write a post that's like, you know what? Because there was I was led there because I was looking for information about snakes in the water of Austin lakes, right? Mm-hmm. And that led me to somebody that was like, I want to go to Hippie Hollow and I want to like take pictures of the flora and fauna, that are there, not the people obviously, but just the stuff there. People were like, ooh, I don't appreciate you bringing a camera into this place, and people are going to blah 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 blah. One person was just like, oh, I looked at your pictures on Instagram and it's obvious that you're not even an amateur photographer.
Wow.
You don't even know what the rule of thirds are, blah blah blah. And I'm anything, apparently they're going to just go after each other, and I just want to go into everyone and just be like, well, I think I can see where this guy is coming from, but also you assholes make some pretty good points. And just for every single post on the Austin subreddit, I want to do that just to bring see what happens. I'd like to bring
they all just hate you.
Neutrality. Yes, I want everybody on the Austin subreddit to hate me.
Nice. Well, I'm going to go in there and start a thread about Rage Select now. Yeah. So
on the Austin subreddit? Oh, God. It's going to be a massacre. Oh, jeez. Well, I'll tell you what is also a massacre, and that's what happens in the new Overwatch cinematic.
Good segue.
Honor and Glory.
Yep.
So BlizzCon was last week, and we got a brand new Overwatch cinematic, and I don't think that it should come as a surprise to anybody, but Amanda and I
cried like small children.
I didn't
cried like little baby children.
I didn't actually cry.
We bawled our eyes out. How could it be?
I had my tear ducts removed at one point.
Well, you don't have a heart.
Yeah, it's true.
Or a Reinhardt.
You gotta. You gotta have a heart before you can have an attack. So yeah, we were flashing back to young Reinhardt.
Yeah, Hasselhoff and Reinhardt.
I'm a little confused about how the Crusaders in the Overwatch universe work, because it's like Germany just has like these regular military guys, and then they've got knights in literal shining armor.
Yeah, giant humans,
rocket hammers, and mullets of steel that go out and fight the Omnics.
And dashingly handsome.
Yeah. I think that anybody, I was watching this, and I think that if you just took 2 seconds, you could kind of see where the story was going.
Oh, yeah. Also, it's called Honor and Glory.
Yeah, but it's, that Reinhardt, that young Reinhardt, he's not sticking with his team. He's a loose cannon that only cares about getting everything.
He's headstrong, adorable, and a puckish rogue in the best way possible.
Yep. Until, oh, man, and then tragedy strikes.
Yeah, and then I cried.
This is great, and in fact, I think that it's kind of cool that we had such an action heavy one after Maze, because Maze was very just kind of introspective and stuff. So this one's kind of a little bit more boom boom boom. I like the fact that they're using that as these shorts go on, like Orisa's original Omnic model shows up. At first, I feel like when the Bastion one came out, that it was just the Bastion style Omnics that were attacking, because it's the same place. This is Eichenwald during the Omnic crisis. We find out how Reinhardt injured his eye. There's a couple of things in here that I think are really cool. One is that I actually kind of really like the idea that Orisa's 4 legs is able to stop the charge attack that the Reinhardt and the Crusaders do. Kind of wish that I could do that.
It makes
Orisa
seem way more cool. I enjoy playing as Orisa, but
I've played her a few times on a rando, the one where you can't choose who you pick, and she's okay. She's just very, I don't know, but she didn't have a lot of panache.
She needs a little charisma to her character.
I was actually thinking that it's kind of cool that they've created, between Bastion and Orisa, they've got a way for these Overwatch characters to just kill like thousands of things.
Just maul the fuck out of,
without actually killing anything. So anyway, the other thing that I thought was really cool, I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a remix at the very end. I forget who this other guy's name was, the other kind of main character in this.
Is it a play of the game?
Yeah, There's a scene at the end where he's just like bashing Omnix down, and play of the game where it was like killed Bastion, killed Bastion, like killed Bastion, killed Bastion. But yeah, it was really cool. The other thing I wanted to say was that apparently the other character here is the guy whose body is in the Eichenwald castle in the throne. I think he's there, right?
Yeah.
In the game.
And
I gotta ask, who
left him there?
Yeah, why'd you guys leave your fucking buddy?
Maybe they didn't, and it's just his suit because it's with his helmet on. So you know what I mean? Like maybe it's there as like a symbol, or like it's a statue as like a symbol. Do you know what I mean?
If it was a statue, I figured they want to make him like with two hammers spinning around, like.
Yeah, I think the more important thing to mention is that he dual-wielded hammers, and it was fucking amazing.
It was.
It made me pissed that Reinhardt can't do it.
Yeah. Also, I don't know
who the hell is that girl.
This little girl, she's shown up before in the comic.
She's like the daughter of one of Reinhardt's buddies.
Is she with Torbjorn? She's got a little gear on her bicep.
Maybe she's a little dwarf person.
I don't know.
She's cute though.
This is a good one. They've all been good. Fuck it, there hasn't been one.
Oh no.
You know, I think that probably like the Twin Dragons one at the time was one of the ones that I wasn't just immediately like gaga over.
Yeah.
And I went back and watched it, and I was just like, no, this is fine. These are all good.
There's not a bad one. There's just ones you connect with more or less.
Yeah.
Depending on how you feel about the character.
So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's worth watching. I mean, what else to say?
Yeah.
Is there anything else
you
to
know
say?
better than that. Go watch it.
Yeah. All right, next up in more Overwatch news, we got a new character coming in, and that is Moira. Who is a new assault character.
Professor X's girlfriend?
Support character. Moira McTaggart.
Yeah.
So we got a little motion comic backstory. Apparently Moira is a scientist who's like pushing the bounds of stuff and Overwatch.
She was testing stuff on bunnies, then she was testing stuff on herself, and then she tested stuff on Reaper.
Yeah, she went over to Talon because Overwatch.
But we don't know what happened to that bunny, and I think that's really
that's the most important
part.
Where did the bunny go, you guys?
Why'd they bring up the bunny? We're gonna have one that's just like a giant ass mech that happens to be a bunny.
Put the bunny down.
Wow.
But no, Moira is a like a hybrid, but she's a support class character. Which I don't know. Like, okay, let's roll down the list of our last few characters. Let's see. Doomfist is assault. He's assault, right?
I believe so.
And then Orisa was tank. Sombra was like the other one that's like the not tank and not assault, but like there's another one, I think like Maze in there or whatever. That are like,
are they just like attacks?
Support or whatever. And then before that, so it was
Anna?
Orisa, Sombra, Anna was okay. So yeah, I guess they're just rotating. So then, but yeah, she's Moira seems like an interesting character. I'm not like 100% crazy about her character design.
She looks a little like Scottish, Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah, she got
weird long fingers.
She's got a lot of crap on her body. Like, she got a Kano face.
Yeah,
and she got tubes everywhere. Got this yellow and purple thing going on. But I've watched.
I'm interested in her skill set though. Like I kind of want to try playing as her. Well, I always want to try playing as all the characters. But she Naruto runs. I'm out. Fuck it. I'm not playing this game.
She has some kind of teleport, and she's able to do attack and healing. But the trade off is that she has to literally attack to charge up her healing meter.
Yeah,
and then her ultimate is a bouncing sphere that bounces around. And you can set it to either attack or heal everybody that it comes in contact with. So if your team is in an area, you can attack or you can heal. And then she's also got this giant beam. Actually, that might be her ultimate.
I think that's her ultimate because it offsets Farah's ultimate in the video.
Oh, yeah. Farah's doing her ultimate.
So
and it looks like it's a beam that both attacks and heals at the same time. Seems like an interesting character. Everybody that I saw playing her online seemed to like, as an interesting... I guess the most offensively oriented healer right now is Anna.
Symmetra's considered a healer, isn't she? She's like in some fucking. She's like.
Oh yeah, fuck Symmetra.
Yeah, she doesn't heal.
She doesn't heal. Yeah, she does shield, but she doesn't heal.
Yeah. But yeah, so technically Symmetra would be the most offensive, specifically because she doesn't heal.
Oh yeah, that's true. Because whenever there's that one where it's like healer fights, I feel like everybody uses Symmetra
because everybody sucks.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Symmetra personally, but I think that this character looks interesting.
Yeah, I'm down. I ain't mad.
Some of the character design though is a little. It's a little busy, especially with Sombra being a very purple character. I feel like I want to see.
We already got purple.
Well, Orisa was purple. Sombra's purple.
What's
Anna's
Doomfist?
Blue. Doomfist is like black and red and gold, sort of.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe gold.
But a lot of purple in the new characters coming through Overwatch. So hey guys, maybe something besides purple.
But like Widowmaker's purple.
Yep.
Reaper's puff of smoke is purple.
It's got some purpliness.
Maybe that's just bad guys purple.
Oh, all the Talon are purple. Yeah, Sombra, Reaper.
So they repping their gang color, man. They're the Saints.
Secret Saints Row announced. Saints Row 5 was Overwatch the entire time.
That would be amazing. You have no idea how happy I'd be. It's just gangsters in space.
The new Overwatch character, Johnny Gat.
Yeah.
Shit. No wait, who's the blood guy? The vampire
I
guy.
hate that guy. Nightblade.
Nightblade. Yeah. NYTE Blade.
Oh no.
New Overwatch character, Nightblade. Right, so that's all the Overwatch. Nope, that's not all the Overwatch. I was going to say that was all the Overwatch, but it's not all the Overwatch because there's a new map coming to Overwatch.
Yay, I actually don't care about this map.
This is Blizzard World, which is like a fake theme park dedicated to all the different Blizzard games. I feel like Blizzard's doing this a lot now.
They're like, look at how great we are.
Yeah. So it's got Starcraft, it's got Warcraft, it's got Hearthstone.
Connecting all your universes together works for Marvel.
Yeah. Does it have Overwatch in it, though? I don't think it has Overwatch.
No, because it's in Overwatch. Right. You can't have them reference their own video game.
Well, but if it's in the world of Overwatch, it could be that Overwatch were giant fans of Blizzard games. That would be so weird.
Yeah, that's super weird.
It turns out
it turns out Blizzard is the ones that make the Omnics.
What if it was just like it was just D.Va, right? D.Va plays StarCraft competitively.
That'd be great.
And that there's just a little subsection for D.Va. Like you can't even play D.Va on this map because she's just in an arcade playing.
Feeding quarters.
I mean, as with everything that Blizzard makes, this looks like it's very nice, and it's got like,
it'll be fun. But if you're not, I'm not a Blizzard fan. I'm just an Overwatch fan.
Right.
So all of this means nothing to me.
Yeah.
This is such a nostalgia wink for other people.
Yeah.
Also, the voice of Darkwing Duck does the voiceover for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that they've got some. The Lost Vikings are in there. There's a Lost and Found desk called the Lost and Found Vikings. It looks like a nice map. Yeah. Apparently, it's got a lot of like kind of crazy ins and outs and stuff. It's pretty cool.
If there's not a place I can ride a ride, I'm gonna be kind of.
There is. There's that Duskwood little car that we saw in the very beginning.
Yeah,
like
but can we actually ride it, or is it going to just be going while we're?
I mean, I think you could jump on top of it and it'll move forward.
You're going to surf it.
Yeah. I'm wondering, there's some. I don't think you're going to be able to get to like the actual like these roller coasters that are in the background. That would be pretty cool though.
If it's like a full theme park.
If you can get on the roller coaster and then like somebody else jumps on the back as you're trying to escape and you're like shooting via roller coaster. Yeah,
what if you're like Hanzo and you do the twin dragon thing and you're like mid. Yeah, that one, and you end up being on a roller coaster with a loop and you like end up missing because you're.
Oh, yeah, because you're at the top of the loop.
Yeah.
So and then as it comes down the other side, it goes around a curve and it manages to hit you.
Yeah,
instead.
You hit yourself. Can you kill yourself with your own ultimate?
I hope so.
That'd be great.
Well, you know what? That's a perfect opening. Speaking of Hanzo, this was a little bit further down the list for me. But Hanzo is coming to Heroes of the Storm along with Alex Straza, who is a lady who is also a dragon from World of Warcraft. So
we're just putting all our dragon people together?
Apparently.
Dragony dragons.
Well, they already put Genji in Heroes of the Storm.
Good,
so.
Cool. I mean, I don't play Heroes of the Storm, and I don't play as Genji or Hanzo, so...
You had such hate in your heart when we were watching this because this is a really cool little video.
Because she's like, you show a lot of promise. It's like he's shooting fucking arrows and you're dodging every single one of them. What promise are you talking about?
Yeah. He literally has to resort to his ultimate to do anything.
To, like, kind of inconvenience a dragon.
Yeah. Apparently, Hanzo's going to be, I think, straight damage, and then she's going to be. She's a healer in her elf form, and then when her ultimate is to turn into this dragon, and then she can do damage. So she's kind of a hybrid class as well. It's pretty cool. I was actually going to say that there was when I was doing the updates for the summer update, I guess, because I was trying to get that Grillmaster 76 skin. We forgot about the skins, but we'll get back to that. Yeah. When I was trying to get that Grillmaster 76 skin, I ended up playing as Hanzo on a random thing on the arcade mode.
Yeah.
And man, I got fucking play of the game like 4 times. Yeah. Just Hanzoing it up. I don't know what happened.
If you are at the right spot and you send out your ultimate, you can dominate as Hanzo.
It was Hollywood, and I was defense and attack, and both times we just managed to just whoop. I mean, it was just like boom, 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 boom. I was
suck at Hollywood. It's like guaranteed not going to win if I'm in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I'm like cursed.
But this is
their animations are always so pretty.
Yeah, even if you don't like Heroes of the Storm, I recommend going and watching this because it's just Hanzo fighting a dragon, right? Like, last year,
First he's trying to kill a lady, then he's trying to kill a dragon.
Yeah, the lady is a dragon.
He's a lady killer?
Okay. Hey, let's jump back for a second because I forgot that apparently there also are a bunch of skins at Overwatch.
Yay.
So let's not finish up. They're adding in for the kind of Blizzard world, they're adding in a bunch of kind of fan wank skins from other franchises.
So now you're going to have cosplayers, like real life cosplayers, cosplaying as characters, cosplaying as other Blizzard characters.
Damn right.
Yep.
Nova Widowmaker is kind of interesting because I think it looks really good. It looks like Nova from StarCraft. The thing is that it's still going to have all those coquettish lines that Widowmaker has, and Nova's not. Nova's kind of like a straight, narrow sniper ghost, right?
Oh, weird. So, maybe she'll have different lines for it, though.
Maybe. We also have Zarya as the barbarian from Diablo.
I'm into it.
This Blackhand Doomfist, which I'm not exactly sure what that is. Magni Bronzebeard Torbjorn.
I'm always down for a Torbjorn.
All crazy looking.
I don't even play as Torbjorn, but I'm down for it.
Immortal Orisa is kind of I think this is something out of one of the Warcraft expansions. And then we also are getting Crusader Reinhardt, his skin from the video. And
Sexy Young Reinhardt.
Echo Point May from her video as well. So her character trailer. So, looks good. Good stuff. Next up, World of Warcraft. I don't think Amanda and I are really qualified to talk a lot about this, but there's a new expansion called Battle for Azeroth. I read a little bit about this where there's going to be 2 new areas. They're trying to bring it back a little bit to the Horde versus Alliance that it originally was.
For the whole Alliance.
Yep.
Yay. Everyone likes the Alliance, right? That's the one.
I don't know.
No, everyone goes for the Horde.
I don't know. I played as a troll because I liked it.
A troll, a Horde, or an Alliance?
They were the Horde back in the old days. But
John said the only reason why people like the Horde is because all the better races are in the Horde.
Well, they're more.
He's like, the Alliance has a lot of boring humans.
The Alliance is humans, was originally humans, dwarves, night elves.
I don't fuck with elves.
And then I think on the Horde it was orcs, trolls, Tauren, and then they started adding more and more stuff in.
Because the Alliance has werewolves now.
Yes, yep. Which is kind of weird to see in the cinematic where there's a guy there that's just like he's like a full-on werewolf, but he's like, what should we do now, Sergeant?
I know, but the Horde has buffalo people.
Yeah, the Tauren. I played as a Tauren for a while.
Which look nice. They look like they should be good guys. The Hordes are baddies.
This is a whole...
Let's go through the history of WoW.
No, I don't. All I can tell you is...
Are there panda ones?
They came in a later expansion.
Are those Alliance or Horde?
Pandarans can be either, I believe.
Oh, nice.
After the first expansion, I believe, was Draenei on the Alliance, which were aliens, these big purple aliens. There's actually a couple of them in this trailer. And then Blood Elves on the Horde side, so you could be an elf on the Horde side.
That's stupid.
And then there were...
were Pandarians a joke?
I think they were originally a joke.
Wasn't it like, oh, we're doing it was like an April Fool's thing.
Pandaren
they said they were going to do a Panda Express crossover thing.
I don't remember that. I do know that the whole thing was that originally the orcs were bad guys, but they were being manipulated by these outworld demons, and that like once they were free of those demons, they became more like, shamanistic. We have a society. We're doing our own thing. Not necessarily evil with quotey fingers.
Mm-hmm.
There was supposed to actually be a game in between that was an adventure game with Thrall, who was like the chieftain of the orcs, but then that never got made, or it got made and then it got never released. But anyway.
So this is just them going true to form, like classic. Dude, I'm down for dwarves with shotguns, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah, be a hunter.
Oh, no, I'm not going to play WoW, because if WoW looked like this, I would play it, but it doesn't look like this.
That's true.
WoW is for people with... That guy looks like Leonardo DiCaprio in the 90s.
WoW looks like this.
Yeah.
Which there was a trailer that talked about. There's a new island where the Horde and the Alliance can both start. The Alliance have a kind of a weird piratey, foresty thing with a bunch of spirits, and then the Horde are over in an area that's a lot more... it's got like snake people and like weird temples and like kind of Mayan stuff. And then apparently there's going to be
dinosaurs.
Some places that have like some, I don't know if there's going to be actual PvP elements, but they said they're trying to make it like like Warcraft, where you have to like build a barracks and then get your lumber under control and then decide like what gets built in what order for these big battles that they want to have. I mean, I think that if you're into, you can also build, apparently they're adding some roguelike elements where you can build a team of like you and some AI characters and then go to islands that have randomly generated kind of configurations. All this is fine. Yeah. The levels caps are raised to 120. There's these allied races that you can get on your side. I ain't gonna play Warcraft, man. I ain't got time to hunker down.
Does it cost money to play these games?
Yeah, and this expansion will almost certainly cost
subscription
$20, and I think they still have like a $10 a month or something.
Not doing it.
Thing. So
plus, I don't got that kind of time.
That's really where it comes down to for me. Is that in order to play World of Warcraft, I would have to stop playing a bunch of other things. Yeah. There's just too many things in this world that I want to play.
Stop feeding yourself.
Yep.
Stop taking the dog for a walk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All those things.
Stop getting up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I watched the South Park episode.
Crap in a jar. Yep. But anyway, again, as with all of this stuff, even if you're not a fan of World of Warcraft, I highly recommend going and watching this Battle for Azeroth trailer because it's just gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Like,
if they made a movie like that,
yeah, I
would watch it.
Blizzard is really really good at their cinematics. So, that. Also,
let us know in the comments if you're a Horde or Alliance.
Yeah,
I'm kind of obsessed with the idea
of picking one or the other.
That you have to pick one or the other, and that like I've only heard anyone I know that has been a World of Warcraft person has been for the Horde.
Yeah. So
I'm just intrigued to find out if there's a bunch of Alliance people, and they're just quiet because for the Horde sounds better than for the Alliance.
I actually made human, because I usually like to play base human characters in fantasy games. So I actually did make a human fighter in World of Warcraft when I first started. And then all my friends started playing, and they all played on the Horde side. So I had to go make a character on the Horde side. And I was just like, fucking whatever. I don't know. Dwarf.
Yeah.
Or no, troll. I actually remember that my name. This is like way back when the game first came out, and I made my character's name Reason, Reezon. Like listen to Reason. And one time I was adventuring, and I saw somebody with like Reason as their name.
Yeah.
And I went over, like I saw them over there, and I like went up to him, and they were standing there like having a conversation with somebody whose name was like Reesen, and it was like reason all together. You know what? I've got my notes all out of order here. But the other thing that's happening in World of Warcraft news, which ties into something that we talked about many months ago, is that they're also launching 1.0 Warcraft servers. So.
Oh, that's right. John told me about this.
Yeah. It used to be that there were some people that were running private, like 1.0 Warcraft servers that were before any of the updates happened, where you could just play vanilla base Warcraft, World of Warcraft. That's what you wanted, and now Blizzard will let you do that if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't really know why you would want to do that.
Because they like to be hardcore.
Okay.
I don't.
Great. Whatever. More power to you.
That sounds like hipster gaming to me. I like to play this game before all the expansions.
I mean, I can kind of understand that with some people. Like, it just, I mean, okay, we're gonna get to it later. I got some things to say, but I was reading some reviews the other day about the new Hitman, because the Hitman Game of the Year expansion came out. About just people just bitching in a real, like, about $10 about. Well, this is totally worth $20, or it's totally worth $10, but I wouldn't pay $20 for it. Go fuck yourself. I understand a little bit. There's a thing that was that, but anything that can be complained about on the internet, great.
Yeah.
And just like, oh, Blizzard, they ruined this by making it all noob friendly and like streamlining everything. I want to go back to when it was shitty and hard. Be like,
yeah.
Okay, give us $10 a month. You can go back to when it was shitty and hard.
Yeah, whatever. You guys want to run off into a corner and play your game the way you play your game? I don't care.
Damn.
I changed Monopoly rules. So, yeah.
Free parking. You play with free parking.
I just make it so it's faster. I don't know if people are allowed to start with $200, but we start with $200.
I thought you start with like $500.
Oh, well, then we made it harder. I haven't played Monopoly in a long time, but all I know is that at some point, when I was still in high school, I brought my boyfriend at the time over to play Monopoly with my family, and he got real mad that we didn't play the right rules. We were like 100% against the actual rule book.
You know that Monopoly was created as like a cautionary tale, right? Like, it was built as a board game to show people how capitalism out of control could make people into like horrible dicks to each other.
Yeah, and then we made it fun.
I
don't need to learn a life lesson. I wanted to play. If I wanted to learn a life lesson, I would play Uno and find out who my real friends are.
You know what? I just say play Clue like a normal person and fuck Monopoly. You can take that Monopoly board and throw it in a lake.
Play Operation and learn some real skills.
There you go. Get good at Operation. I'll tell you what else you can get good at without paying any money is StarCraft 2, because StarCraft 2 is going free to play and adding a new co-op commanders to the whole thing. Basically, StarCraft 2 launched, and it was the way that they structured it was you bought it with the first story campaign, Wings of Liberty, and then you had Heart of the Swarm and whatever the dumb Protoss one was that came out like every like 2 years after that. Well, apparently you can download StarCraft 2 and the first episode or the first story pack for free now. You can buy the rest of them if you want to, and then there's some kind of hard cap on, like, I think the multiplayer that you can do. That's cool. I mean, try out some StarCraft 2. I think StarCraft 2 is a really fun game. And last but certainly not least the BlizzCon stuff, Kobolds and Catacombs, the new Hearthstone expansion, which strangely enough I want to play.
Why?
Because
of the Fraggles in it?
No.
Also, I don't know what those are.
Kobolds. That's the kobolds of Kobolds and Catacombs.
Oh, okay. I don't know if kobolds are like diamonds in this game or...
No.
They look like Fraggles. Like, they don't look like Fraggles, but they remind me of Fraggles.
They're monsters. That's little, they look
like rat monsters.
Yeah. Little musical intro to this. But the whole thing that's interesting here is this is a single player thing for Hearthstone.
Is Hearthstone usually multi?
It's usually just card game you play against other people.
Oh, okay.
And this allows you to go into a randomly generated kind of like Quirty Fingers dungeon, and there's 8 different bosses, and you start with 10 cards out of your deck, and as you beat the bosses, you gain more cards from them. And so you literally go through and then earn like loots and stuff. So
that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a big multiplayer game fan if it's not Overwatch, and even then, I'm kind of
depends.
Depends on the day, and
it depends on who's on the fucking objective.
The answer is no one ever.
I am,
except for Amanda and myself. Why am
Get on my fucking level, bro.
I'm Hanzo. Why am I the only one moving the cart?
Yeah.
I should be further away helping you.
Yeah, I'm not going to get back into it. I want to, but I'm not going to.
But this is actually a free expansion.
Oh, nice.
That you can play
Even
if you
better.
just install Hearthstone. So
yeah, punch some rat Fraggles or whatever.
Yeah. It's funny, like, out of all this, it's like, StarCraft 2 is free. You got this new Hearthstone expansion that's free. You got some new characters for Heroes of the Storm. You got a new free character that's coming into Overwatch. You got a new free map that's coming into Overwatch. You got some free skins coming into Overwatch. Like, a lot of this stuff ain't paying for.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of it is also Blizzard self-wanking itself. Well, literally, like, hey, look at this picture of us. You can have it for free if you want.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to, you know what? Let's keep, I didn't even anticipate this discussion, so let's move a few things around.
Okay.
It's nice to see somebody giving away something for free.
Yeah.
Which is why it was kind of a letdown when this week, Strauss Zelnick, the Take-Two Interactive Chairman and CEO,
okay.
Take-Two makes like the NBA 2K game, anything with 2K in it.
Okay.
They also publish Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead, all those things. Basically came out and said...
Fuck you, give us money.
reaffirm the company's commitment to provide opportunities for, quote, recurrent customer spending in its games.
Uh-huh.
Let me read this quote from him. We've said that we aim to have recurrent consumer spending opportunities for every title that we put out at this company. It may not always be an online model. It probably won't always be a virtual currency model, but there will be some ability to engage in an ongoing basis with our titles after release across the board. The business, once upon a time, was a big chunky opportunity to engage for tens of hours or perhaps 100 hours. That has turned into ongoing engagement. Day after day, week after week, you fall in love with these titles and they become part of your daily life. That's a sea change in our business. Recurrent customer spending is 42% of our net bookings in this quarter. It's been transformative for us. So that to me indicates that we're probably going to be looking at, I mean, there's that line in there about it doesn't necessarily mean online microtransactions, but to me, that says that Red Dead is either going to have it's probably going to have some GTA Online component that is going to be the major focus of Rockstar after release. And also...
Might be shooting themselves in the foot with that.
See, here's the problem. Grand Theft Auto 5 originally was rumored was going to have single-player DLC.
Mm-hmm.
All the previous ones, I mean, if you think of... It's weird. I guess if you think of Grand Theft Auto Vice City and San Andreas as kind of like weird DLC for Grand Theft Auto 3, whatever. But Grand Theft Auto 4 had two great DLCs, arguably better than the main game, The Lost and the Damned and The Ballad of Gay Tony, which both were wonderful, full of great characters. So Red Dead Redemption had Undead Nightmare was DLC kind of for that. It was standalone DLC, but it was DLC.
Right.
L.A. Noire had all of its DLC. Rockstar has made DLC in the past. Here comes Grand Theft Auto 5, greatest selling video game. At this point, that's the next story that I'll touch on briefly. But now, of all time.
Right.
Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 launches Grand Theft Auto Online. Grand Theft Auto Online gives you the ability to go in and buy real money whale cards, is what they call them. Where it's like you're spending $30 on in-game currency that you can then use to buy cars and guns and stuff that you want to play online with your friends with.
Uh-huh.
Massively profitable for Take-Two and Rockstar.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that I've been wrestling with this for a while now because EA did that stupid thing where they were like, they shut down Visceral and they're like, single-player games, fuck it. Which led to a brand new rash of like, single-player gaming is dead. Nobody's going to make that anymore, which is it's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. But what I think this focuses on is that I think that companies have this idea in mind of we're going to make a game that's super good, but then we're also going to give people the ability to buy more, to just infinitely put money in, whether it's with buying currency, buying loot packs, buying packs of weapons, buying things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, like 80% of the people that play the game are never going to touch that. But the 20% of the people that engage with that are going to engage with it hard. And we're just going to keep making money on a game that we already sold you. So you paid $60, but then we're continually raking in money. And I'm pretty sure that that's just, unless we as gamers start pushing back against it, which quite frankly means don't buy Red Dead 2. Right? Like that's the problem.
That's never going to happen.
That's the problem at the end of the day, is that if you want Strauss Zelnick to change his mind, you need to not buy NBA 2K18. You need to not buy WWE 2K18 no matter how good it looks, and you need to not buy Red Dead. And when I say not buy Red Dead, I'm not talking about like the fucking 1,000 people that listen to this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Grand Theft Auto 5 has now sold more copies than Wii Sports, which used to be the last, the biggest seller of all time.
Yeah.
It's up to 82.83 million copies worldwide, or what?
So 82.83 million people need to not buy Red Dead 2.
Yeah. So essentially, for this to happen, you would need to, or no, that's not true. What you would need to do is you would need to say cut that number by 20 million people.
But you know they wouldn't go, oh, that they're mad about that multiplayer thing. They'd just be like, cowboy games don't work. Got to do more modern shit.
Well,
like they always find the dumber excuse.
Yeah, but that's the only way. And to be honest, it's never going to happen. And I hate to keep repeating myself about this, but like this goes for pre-order DLC.
Mm-hmm.
This goes for post-game DLC. Every time, and what happens is that you get a company like Bethesda that puts out a bunch of stuff for Fallout, and you're like, this is really good DLC. And it's fine to, I think it's fine to buy DLC. I don't want to make people think that I'm anti DLC. If they give you DLC that you shouldn't, that's worth it, that buying it is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's when you buy it ahead of time sight unseen. It's when you give them $60 for their game plus $20 in advance for that bonus content, because as near as I can tell, most of the time, there is no financial incentive to buying it ahead of time instead of waiting to see if it's any good after it comes out, or buying it piecemeal as it comes out when you read a review of the new DLC, because usually if you buy all those DLCs, you might be saving $5 to $10, but you're gambling, man. You're buying a lottery scratcher. Like, it could be good and it could be garbage, but they already have your money, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is a trend, and so that's why to tie it back, I find it laudable that Blizzard just can come out and be like, I mean, I have not put a single dollar. I spent $60 on Overwatch, and I've gotten a shitload of content for my $60. I haven't bought a single pack of boxes.
Yeah.
I've not.
Yeah, I've never. I didn't even know you could for.
Oh yeah, I remember when I told you that on.
That's on one of the podcasts. Go back.
You're like, what?
Yeah. Well, because it's not easy to do. You actually have to go through the store to do it. It's not like, or you could just give us money, and I'd be like, yeah, just take my money.
Yep. If you'd been able to buy skins for like $2, I probably would have done that already. I probably would have.
Oh, not even probably, dude.
If there was a pack where
you
would
have literally been like, "Hey, everyone! Like, thanks for watching. The Patreon and Amazon links at the bottom. And if you guys want to kick in $2, I can finally get that fucking skin I've been bitching about for a week and a half."
I tell you what, the one thing. I mean, again, I think I have to applaud Blizzard for doing, because God only knows that Activision ain't fucking doing it. Activision has a thing where, in Call of Duty, where it's like they have these loot boxes, and that you literally go to an area where a bunch of other people are milling around in a lobby, so you can open it in front of other people and they can see what it is that you're getting, and it's just like eye roll as hard as I can. But Blizzard, at least, like, if Blizzard came out during Halloween and they were just like, hey buddy, you want to give us $20 and get all the Halloween stuff that came out this year? You give us $20 to get all the Christmas stuff? They would. And they probably end up making more money by making you buy packs of boxes instead. But that's some guaranteed, like, on the last day of Overwatch Halloween, do you want that Cthulhu
goddamn
Zenyatta skin? Give us $2.
I wanted 80 Zarya.
Yeah. But anyway, I have a bunch of other things here that just are. This is going to be a slightly depressing part of the podcast. We're basically just reinforcing what I was just talking about with Take-Two. First off, let's talk a little bit about the new Call of Duty. So we played the zombies mode for Call of Duty, and it was good. Chris and I played the single player and the multiplayer during the beta. The multiplayer in the beta was okay, but the thing is that Call of Duty multiplayer could literally be wireframes with no shading on them, and it's in the competition. It's kind of the same way that it's nice that Overwatch has such good art style, but Overwatch would be a really fun game even if it was a bunch of triangles and circles shooting at each other.
Yeah. But like really colorful triangles and circles.
Yes. It kind of is just really colorful triangles and circles. But okay, so last year, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Everyone was like, fuck this. Get your Halo out of my Call of Duty, bro. Bleh. So they went back to World War II, and it worked because this Call of Duty World War II double the day one sales of Call of Duty Infinite.
Yeah.
And that was with Call of Duty Infinite having Modern Warfare as a pre-order packet.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
500 million in sales in its first 3 days.
Yeah. So just reiterating, everyone just wants the same shit over and over again.
I think the campaign for Call of Duty World War II, I haven't played all the way through it. I played the first 3 or 4 missions. I think the campaign for Call of Duty World War II is one of the worst Call of Duty campaigns I've played in a long time.
Wow.
I kind of liked Infinite Warfare because I like spaceships and robots and stuff.
Yeah.
I liked it when Jon Snow brought his fucking death carrier and blew up LA and you ever had to get to the ship and shit, right? Like,
yeah.
This was, I mean, I don't even understand, like, you don't even have a generating health anymore. Like, you have to hit a button to use a health pack when you're not being shot at.
Oh, you don't like hardcore games where you're not just living the whole time? What a noob. Got to use health packs, man.
The thing is that, as I said on the video, if it's too easy with regenerating health, all you have to do is up the amount of damage that enemies are doing to make it. Because regenerating health, to me, started with Halo, right, with the shields that came back up. And for me, it was always a way to keep you in the action without having to dick around with looking for health packs or like, shit, I got to go. Like, one of the things that I don't like about Wolfenstein 2 is the fact that I'll clear out a level and then I wander through the entire level just tapping on the pickup stuff button to get more armor and health and whatever, as opposed to just having brrr, and then you like go forward.
Yeah. There's
good reasons for and against, but to me, the Call of Duty single player campaign have always been about spectacle and about these set pieces that are amazing. Call of Duty Infinite actually had a thing where you were hijacking an enemy starship and you literally were jetting, like, you and your wingman were like on jets going through an asteroid field. You'd been waiting for the ship to jump in, and then you had to like 0G go up to this ship and sneak your way onto it and then sneak down and set the reactor to overload. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So far, this has just been standard World War II bullshit. Like, fucking, the first level is Normandy. I haven't fucking played Normandy enough.
I think maybe they should just go balls to the wall and do a full World War II Nazi zombie game.
I had so much fun playing Nazi zombies with you on the Patreon.
There's a story going on through that.
Yeah.
And that was super interesting. And if they fleshed it out to something that's more than just like getting the story through dialogue and stuff, it would actually be really, especially with the actors that they had for it, with, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been a lot cooler.
I wish they put some of those actors in the single player. It's a bunch of generic fucking white guys.
I would have really enjoyed David Tennant in any game.
They were just like, oh, what are you going to do when you get home, Mackenzie?
I got my
girl's waiting for me. Let's have.
Tell my mom I love her.
Let's have a card game. How you feeling about this, Jackson? Oh man, I'm scared, Sarge. And then like, all right, let's do this. Get on that beach. And I'm like, oh Lord, shoot me in real life. But you know what? Money talks. So you got double the sales for World War II than you do for this. Guess what? I bet the next 3 Call of Duty games are going to be, at least 3 Call of Duty games are going to be historical in some way or another. I bet next year's will probably be something either, maybe they do Pacific Theater for World War II, and then I bet the year after that they do their own World War I game or something like that. But they're going to be historical for a while because guess what? Their sales have been slipping down, and now with this one, bam, they're back up again. So everybody that's like, fuck Call of Duty, in a lot of ways I'm on your side, but guess what? There's going to be Call of Duty. And Assassin's Creed. So as if Call of Duty wasn't enough of a signpost, Assassin's Creed Origins sold double the amount that Syndicate sold. So
was Syndicate good? I don't.
It was passable. It came on the heels.
Is Origins good? I mean, we played it and I enjoyed what we played, but it's Assassin's Creed isn't my kind of game, so it's hard for me to be like, it's great.
It's
compared to Syndicate. How do you feel about it?
Better than Syndicate. I mean, Syndicate was like
twice as good as Syndicate.
Maybe. It's weird because it's got the RNG loot stuff in it, where you're doing missions, randomly generated missions for the loot box kid in the hopes that you get a good piece of gear because that makes the game easier.
Yeah.
Like, here's one of the problems I have with that game is that you literally can't heal yourself in combat. So the only way to make you better at combat is to have better gear.
Yeah.
And gear is tied into this loot box microtransaction system that they have. It's probably the best implementation of a loot box microtransaction system because you also get gear from doing quests, and that kid will let you just go buy loot boxes from him with the currency in the game. They're very expensive, but you're guaranteed to get like a legendary out of those. The problem is that it's a loot game, and it's a real shift in my mind to the Assassin's Creed, the way that Assassin's Creed works, because Assassin's Creed has never been about like really challenging combat mechanics. It's more been about the story of the game.
Yeah.
And this game I've spent so much time like searching down treasures and doing like raiding forts for more equipment and blah, 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 blah. I try to get the skills and stuff unlocked that I've literally been ignoring the main story. So I can't speak to it.
Mm-hmm.
What I can say is that this means that Assassin's Creed is probably going to be going in a different direction. And to tie on to this, Ubisoft also talked at was a earnings call, financial sales and earnings figures post about how 40% of its revenue, or no, just under half of the total revenue from came from digital sales, and that means digital copies of the games, DLC, and loot box stuff. So that's huge. That's amazing. And I think that when you add those stories that we're talking about together between Take-Two, who honestly, NBA 2K18 got a lot of shit, and they're like, nope, we're going to keep doing loot boxes. You've got Call of Duty World War II, which has loot boxes and stuff in there, selling twice as good. You got Assassin's Creed Origins, which has loot boxes and the microtransaction hooks in it, that is sold twice as good as the last game.
Question.
Yes.
Do you think anyone is blaming Syndicate's failure on, or at least the success on, the fact that you were a playable female character?
I don't believe so.
Because that was a huge deal.
Well, it was both of them, so you could switch between them. But
but
I don't know.
But that was a big selling point for it, was it not? Like, that was the thing. Everyone was like being butthurt about Assassin's Creed not having female characters, blah blah blah. And
it was Unity, didn't have, and then they were stupid enough to come out and be like, "Well, it's just too hard to program," which
bulb physics are crazy.
Okay,
and then Galgun was like, "I mean, kind of."
This, I feel like
I don't mean to derail us or anything.
No, that's all right.
Because I always feel like they try to come up with different, and I wonder if behind the scenes they might be like, never again, because this doesn't have a playable female character.
Well, but do you notice,
and it doesn't seem to be an issue to anybody.
Yeah, do you notice that nobody cares that it doesn't have a playable female character? I mean, like, nobody gives a shit that there isn't.
It's not the topic du jour anymore?
Yeah, it was because they responded to that person with the stupid bullshit, right? Like, if they just and I really honestly feel like they were so late in the development cycle that it's like, yes, we could have added female avatars into the game. We would have had to knock the game back 4 or 5 months to make sure that they were fully integrated into the campaign, do bug testing, because people were like, you can't just put a guy animation set on a lady character model. It'll look weird. It'll look strange, and there'll be all kinds of weird bugs. Which, to be honest, Assassin's Creed Unity's problems with bugs went far beyond not having ladies in it. But yeah, then they put that in Syndicate. I thought it was kind of cool. But then, as you say, Unity is just Bayek. At least as far as I know. It's possible there could be a lady in there later, but whatever. All right, so my segues have been ruined by the fact that I moved up that Take-Two story. No, it's all right. But we did have a couple of trailers this week for L.A. Noire, the re-release of L.A. Noire. One is for the VR story. Good candidate for the most boring and stupid trailer I've ever seen in my entire life.
I can't tell you that she's scared. Thanks, it's like fucking awesome.
I mean, it's showing us that they're doing the interrogation from like a VR perspective where you can hold up your hands to see.
Are we going to play it in VR?
No, it's only on the Vive. I don't have a computer that's hard enough for that.
Fuck that shit.
So, Yeah, I don't know. Looks an awful lot like LA Noire. I mean,
I didn't like that game.
Well, if you didn't like that game, then you're probably also not going to appreciate the trailer that it's coming to the Switch. Even though I went to another video,
like fuck it.
Yeah. This is weird. It says your video will play after the ad, and then I have no ad. Anyway, there's another trailer for the Switch version that is coming out pretty soon. I think November 14th. There's one kind of interesting thing. I think is kind of interesting about this trailer is that they present a lot of it where they're just, I don't know why they feel the need to show it like running on the Switch. Like, this is what it will look like. I'm like,
tiny?
Yeah.
Garbage? Straight garbage?
Apparently you're going to use the touchscreen for stuff, but what I feel is a lot of people are interesting is this is new.
The good cop, bad cop thing?
That now instead of like press or doubt or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's like it was truth, lie, accuse, or like, press, doubt, or accuse.
And now it's basically just like, do you want to be good cop or bad cop? And John was telling me that that's because a lot of people were confused about when you're like, you think they might be lying, and you're like, I think you might be lying. And then Cole's like, you son of a bitch, I will drop you off this building.
Yeah, I do remember one that made a bunch of videos. It was practically a meme where I think he's talking to like a woman, and she's like, yeah, I was home. And then you press because you know that she was out, and he's like, you lying whore. And you're like, Jesus, back it up, man.
Well, Cole Phelps is a piece of shit, but I also find it interesting that they felt the need to emphasize like the driving and shooting and punching, which is the worst part of LA Noire.
Yeah.
Especially the driving. Like after 2 cases, I was like, nope.
You just let your partner drive and you sit in the back seat.
Yep. You drive, I'll sit.
I like making the drunk one drive.
There you go.
He's my favorite partner.
All right, let's zip on through a few of these. There is an 8-minute and 46 second
I don't got time
long,
for that shit.
System Shock Reboot backer video that came out. So System Shock Reboot. System Shock's an old game. And this company, Night Dive Studios, that used to just do ports of stuff, is basically kind of remaking the game for modern systems. And they've got this new video out that shows an awful lot of like what they're doing. I think it's interesting that their level designer talks for quite a while about how they're not just like simply taking the levels from the old game and then just remaking them.
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're looking at those levels and they're trying to suss out like what was this level to people in the game. Was this like much more for sneaking? Was it a respite? Was it tense in these ways? And how can we do that? But then they also want to give people the ability to play the game
and it still be fresh.
Well, to have more options of like sneaking and stuff. Things I find it interesting. This guy talking about how like he's like, it's been like 20 years since this game came out, and like game development has gotten more sophisticated.
God willing,
we're trying to not just be slavish to the original, and we're trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
It looks real good, and if you're a fan of System Shock, I'm going to highly recommend that you go watch this video. It's pretty nifty looking, and I actually can't wait for this game to come out. Like I like System Shock, the original. I played it like back in the old days when it came out in the 90s or whatever. John and I played the demo on a super awesome, the real early alpha on a super awesome video game show. They also show at the very end of this that apparently they have a shatter physics on characters where you can freeze enemies and then you can essentially T2 Judgment Day them.
Alien ice cubes.
Yeah, in a variety of different ways that if you shoot them in different places, they'll shatter differently. The gun that this guy's using in this also apparently will shoot people's like legs and stuff off, which looks pretty cool. So go give it a shot. Here's a very strange thing. Okay. Sony has instituted a new rewards program. This is just real strange.
Yeah.
I feel like this is Sony really throwing the gauntlet down to Xbox. So here's the thing. You can now earn credits in the Sony. Apparently the Sony rewards program has been around, and if it has, I'm sorry, I don't know about it. I just signed up for it, but apparently now you can actually earn credit by getting trophies in like PS4 or PS3 games.
Yeah.
So you don't get anything for bronze trophies, but like 100 silver trophies equals 100 points. 25 gold trophies equals 250 points. 10 platinum trophies will give you 1,000 points. Now, these points can be translated directly into currency on the PlayStation Store that you can use to buy stuff. But to put it in perspective, 1,000 points will get you $10 worth of credit. So you're talking about you need 6,000 points to get a game, right? Like I actually looked at Call of Duty World War II is 6,000 credits.
Yeah.
But you also get credits for like renting a movie off the store. You get credits for, you get like 1 point for every dollar that you spend on the PlayStation Network.
This is like the weird thing at like Blockbuster. That was a place you could rent movies for the 5-year-olds that are listening right now.
Right.
Or like movie
physical.
Physical. Yeah, it was like Netflix, but like
you had to go to a place.
Yeah, like how the mall is Amazon.
Yeah.
So Blockbuster or like movie theaters where you just earn that rewards thing. Where you use the service enough that you start earning free fucking popcorn.
I think that, I mean, like, it's obviously every one of these types of programs is a way for developers and for companies to basically just monitor all your habits, right? And they give you money for it.
And we go, monitor my habits.
I have a Walgreens near my house. They've been trying to get me to get one of those Walgreens like customer cards for 5 years. And
I have one.
Nope.
I love it.
Nope.
I love it. Everything's cheaper, and I get $5 every once in a while.
Go listen to this week's or last week's Reply All. Also, you're telling Facebook everything that you do so they can try to sell you stuff better.
I mean, in fairness, did you know? I'm just going to go off the rails. Facebook is trying to do a thing to combat revenge porn. Have you heard that?
No.
Facebook is doing a thing where they're trying to prevent revenge porn by you submitting your own naked pictures, and then they can scan the internet and find out if it's on there.
Go listen to last week's Reply All about how far up your business Facebook is right now. That's like that stupid
So you're
Amazon.
saying I shouldn't have given that Amazon or that Facebook official my nude pictures?
I think this is just somebody at Facebook.
Like one guy scamming? That'd be so great.
No, but this is like that Amazon bullshit where they set up the webcam and then it'll like the keypad, and then an Amazon person can essentially open the door to your house and put your packages in your foyer.
Fucking no thanks, dude. I've seen the people that deliver my Amazon stuff.
Of course, I was thinking about that because I was here, and somebody from Amazon delivered a package. They didn't even. I think they just tap the door once and then they leave.
You just breathe near your door,
and it was actually like not sitting on my front porch. It was sitting in the dirt, like to one side of my front porch, and I was like, "What the hell?"
They're like, "I was hiding it."
Anyway.
Trophies.
This is pretty cool. I think that people, if you're in the PlayStation architecture, I think this is a cool reward. I mean, all you have to do is turn it on and then just like let it accumulate. And then once a year, you're going to be like, free game.
Yeah.
I can finally pick up that one stupid game that I didn't want to pay money for.
Yeah.
I'm going to be, I already signed up for this.
Just straight balling.
Because I buy a lot. I buy a lot of stuff on the PlayStation Store. All right, let's roll through here pretty quickly. DICE has revealed the Battlefront 2 Last Jedi season stuff. So I don't know if you know this, but after everybody thought that the DLC for Star Wars Battlefront was too expensive, and it was like a $50 season pass. And
damn, that's a whole nother game season pass.
Yeah, and a lot of people, once all that DLC was in the game, then considered that to be like a complete game. It was like they literally made a whole game, cut it in half, and then sold you the other half.
Yeah, so it's a $100 game.
Yeah, well, except that now on any sale you can get the whole edition for like $20 or $10 or whatever. But anyway, Battlefront 2, they said that the DLC is going to be free. That is why I feel like they were pushing their loot boxes into this game.
Yeah.
Whatevskis. But what's interesting is that Finn and Captain Phasma, on December 13th, Finn and Captain Phasma are going to be playable heroes in the multiplayer mode, and there's going to be maps Crate and Dakar. There's also going to be, and I find this really interesting, a new mission for the single-player campaign that literally has Iden Versio, the lady from the trailers, in like moving up to the creation of the First Order from the last Star Wars movie.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
That's one of the first times, though, that I think I've ever heard of movie tie-in single-player DLC. Like, that the base game... Because in Star Wars Battlefront, there was Jakku, right, for the Rogue One. No, for the other one, the Force Awakens. Yeah, and then there was the Battle of Jakku, which was where all the starships were crashed. So it was showing how that was going.
Yeah,
and then later on, there was a couple of Rogue One missions, I believe, for that, where you also played as Jyn Erso. But I think this is interesting, and I think it's kind of cool that, you know what, all loot box talk aside, if they want to sell me a $60 game, which they do, and I bought it, and then they want to give me free single-player content for that single-player video game, the only thing that makes me wonder about that is if they're willing to throw free single-player content out there if the single-player game is like 3 hours long, and they feel the need to add more to it. Nier's producer, Yosuke Saito, confirmed that a new project is in development. Everybody really loved Nier Automata. This is just like, hey guys, there's going to be more of this going on. He says that he wants Yoko Taro, who I believe is the director, of Nier Automata, to be involved in some way. And
the one with the android with the no pants on? Cool.
Yeah.
We can get more no pants.
They got the blindfolds on. Everybody's wearing all the robots wearing blindfolds.
Yeah.
Did you want to play that? No, I played that with Matt,
we played it on a Patreon. I think we played the part 3 for it.
Oh,
and
okay.
we got to watch some robots have sex.
Yes, that was where the game was so white bread up until that point. Then it was just like, what?
Yeah, it was a shocking moment for both of us.
Yep.
We were like, why are they doing? Because we were like, it kind of looks like they're having sex. And then we like looked around. We're like, what is happening?
And
then they had a baby,
clanky robot orgy, and then they produced some pretty Ken doll boys.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't know whose genes he got, but it wasn't any of theirs. It looked like a bunch of refrigerators having sex.
It was really strange. And I'll tell you now, since I played more of that game, not even the strangest thing that happens in that game.
Nice. More sex, though?
You get to the theme park where all those robots feel like they're having a great time at like a theme park. And then there's the one robot who is
jerking it in the corner. And you're like, you don't have a thing to jerk.
I don't know if there's a jerking it robot. There is actually a point in that game where a character gives you an item, and she's like, here, this is a reward. You can sell it. Whatever you do, it's like, I think it's coffee. She's like, this is coffee. I just brewed it. You can sell it back at the store, get some money for it. Whatever you do, don't drink it. Your robot body can't handle food or fluids. And I was like, you're not the boss of me. And I went to the menu and I said, drank the coffee. She's like, glug, glug, glug. Falls over, game over, end credits. Like,
wow.
And I was like, okay, Nier, sure.
Guess you are the boss of me.
Yep. A few more just straight up announcements. Ghost Story is a new studio that's being made by Ken Levine, former Irrational Games employees. This was after the big slash and burn for the BioShock Infinite staff.
Yeah.
Ken Levine said they wanted to go back and do something small. The formation of an actual named company seems to indicate that we're probably going to start to hear more about this. Not a lot, but just a footnote. I like Ken Levine, even though I don't think he's I don't think his time management is very good. And let's see. Hey, everybody. Do you like that Pokemon Go?
Hell yeah.
Do you wish that there was a new thing that would occupy your time as bad as Pokemon Go?
My heart says yes. My phone says no.
Your phone says, get ready to install Harry Potter Wizards Unite, the new AR game from Niantic, the makers of Pokemon Go. Walking around casting. I'm gonna see some fucking 14-year-olds out there screaming Expelliarmus and throwing their phones at each other.
I only know people over the age of 25 that are obsessed with Harry Potter at this point.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, you guys all would have graduated from Hogwarts by now. You know that, right? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
because they're like, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and it's like, you're adults. I'm like, it's cute. Pick your colors or whatever, but like, goddamn. Yeah.
Do you remember if you were in orange group or green group in 4th grade or like?
Yeah, I mean, also like, I can't shit on picking classes when I asked everyone if they're Horde or Alliance, but you know what I mean.
There you go.
Are you guys say in the comments who's Ravenclaw? Ooh.
I think Matt and Jennifer one time they were like, "Ooh, what would Jeff be?" And I'm just like, I don't fucking know.
Gryffindor.
No. I took the test.
You took the Pottermore test, or you took a fucking BuzzFeed test? Because there's a difference.
I took the Pottermore test. Guess.
Slytherin?
No.
Hufflepuff?
Yes.
Oh, like a chump.
Like a chump.
You know what's funny, though? I keep telling Johnny he's a fucking Hufflepuff and he ended up being a Ravenclaw.
I thought
that don't make a lick of sense. Somebody's telling lies.
I'm just a stalwart, punchy marshmallow man.
Matt Frank's a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
If he's not a Hufflepuff, then everything I know about Harry Potter, the 3 books I read from Harry Potter, is a lie.
Do you want the rest of them? I've got them. You can read them if you want.
No, that's cool.
Okay. Last but not least, I saved this one for last because boo! IO is working on the next Hitman game. Yeehaw.
I mean, I don't care, but you seemed really excited, and I wanted to be supportive.
Man, I love it. I love it so much.
You were hyped about the last one.
Oh, dude, the Game of the Year edition just came out. In fact, we're going to review that.
So
right
stay
after we
tuned
come
for
back from break. So stick around, and we'll see you in just a sec. And we're back. And before we get to the questions, as I stated before, I bought last week the Hitman Game of the Year kind of like upgrade patch. So the way this works is if you already own Hitman, then it's $20 essentially to get this new patch that gives you 4 new missions and 3 outfits and some guns. And okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is I'm going to just say this up front. I am entirely biased about Hitman. I love Hitman. I think it's a really great game, and any more content, I'm just a big sucker for this.
Cherry on top.
Yes, I am. In all ways, I love Hitman, and that's great. Now, if you've never bought Hitman before, if you have somehow gone your whole life without getting it, this Game of the Year edition basically has the entire game, which is 6 missions that are dense, so dense.
Mm-hmm.
Story campaign, Patient Zero, the new thing. Also, it has the Icon, which I think you and I played in Sapienza, where it's like the movie set.
Uh-huh.
It's got there's something in Sand, which is the Morocco remix level. Also, what's that? Not Deal Breaker. It's the one that we played that had the politician on it.
Yes.
That one as well. It's got these 4 new missions. The other thing that's actually really interesting is that all of the elusive contracts. I think this will be really interesting. All of the elusive contracts, which previously in Hitman, it was like elusive contract would come up.
And
you had to play without radar. You got one chance, and if you failed, then it was failed, and it was up for 48 hours, I think, or something like that. All of those elusive contracts, and when you played those elusive contracts, when you beat them, you would get these. You would unlock new outfits, like some of the outfits from the previous games.
Was one of them Santa Claus?
No, that was Holiday Hoarders, but that's, I think, included in this as well because that was a free update.
Yeah.
No, any of the elusive targets that you haven't done, you can do. So at some point, Gary Busey is back on the table. The wild card, I believe, is
so hyped for that.
So anyway, this came out, and I think that one of the big problems with this is that the way on the PC that they have structured this is the way that it's been priced. So there's on the Steam store, for most people, if you already own the game, it's $20 to get this additional content. And I think that the game originally was like $40 or something like that if you bought the whole thing. But the way that this DLC worked was it's technically listed on the store as 2 separate DLCs. And one of those DLCs is the 4 story missions, and the other one is the 3 costumes, and then there's like a really powerful gun that makes people just fly off backwards when you shoot it.
Nice.
I think that people do not like the fact that they feel like they're being forced to buy both of these, and they don't feel like the 4 remix missions that you're getting for the Patient Zero campaign are worth $20. I feel like a lot of the kvetching that I've seen about this is mostly from PC people, because they also revamped the UI and they did some different stuff. And I feel like a lot of the complaining that I've seen has been people that feel like it should only have been $10. That you should have been able to buy them individually. You should have been able to spend $10. That the 4 remix missions would have been $10 worthy, and but not buy the costume pack, because you get a cowboy costume, you get this like kind of leather suit, and then there's a clown costume from I think one of the previous Hitman games.
Of course, there's a clown costume.
Yeah, and he's got like a bat that you could like run in and kill people with. I personally think that $20 is not a big ask. I like Hitman and this content, but here's some of the problems that people have had before I talk about the good stuff that I like. One, there was a new update for the UI. People like you remember how previously in Hitman everything was like blood red in the UI. Now it's gray, and people are just like, "Oh, it was better when it was blood red. That was like a Hitman color, and now it's just gray and it looks stupid." They said they were revamping the UI, and on the PC, apparently it's still very kind of like console optimized, and people get real bent out of shape. PC players get real bent out of shape when they can't do that. I kind of understand that, but
I mean that's more of a nitpick than anything.
Yeah. The major thing that I feel like people are going to have a problem with are the 4 missions. And I should call this like 3 1/4 missions, because there is one mission, and I don't want to go into spoilers, where you don't get to do what you do in normal Hitman and go into the level and interact with a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
It's very much like a set piece where you're just in a location and you're killing targets from way far away. And you can beat, like, I've seen people online who are like, I beat this mission in 20 seconds because I just like pop, 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 and then you're done. And there's not even like going to different vantage points for it's a sniper mission.
Yeah.
So that mission probably shouldn't exactly be
considered like a full
mission.
Yeah.
The other missions are happening in remix areas for Marrakesh. Is it Marrakesh? The hotel. Sapienza, which I feel like is a little overused because both the Icon and Landslide happen in Sapienza. And then Hokkaido, which is not significantly different than Hokkaido in the game. I do like some of the twists that they add. They also, remember how in the game you would hear an opportunity and then you would hit a button to track the opportunity and it would be like, do this, do this, do this, and then get this, and then go kill them like this way. All that's been stripped out, and I feel like I was reading some Reddit posts about it where people were like, a lot of the hardcore Hitman players don't like the fact that it will hold your hand, and even though you're not forced to do that, you can just go try to figure it out yourself. That IO might have taken that out because of complaints from the community. I think that's really stupid personally. Like, I still managed to figure out how to do a lot of the things that are in there, and there aren't quite as many of them as there were in the previous ones. This is closer to Holiday Hoarders than it is to, say, the Icon, which had very specific kind of like setting up elaborate death trap stuff.
Yeah.
These are a little bit more pedestrian in the things. So you can make an argument that it's not worth $20. I'm sure that at some point, probably in the Steam Winter Sale, if you're on PC, it's going to be $10. But I also personally wanted to give IO my money now that they're independent from Square Enix.
Yeah. Show your love and support.
They also did a lighting revamp on the game, which especially people have a problem with that in the Sapienza level because it makes everything a lot brighter and a lot more colorful. A lot of people do not like the new color scheme. I wouldn't be surprised to see if it gets
muted a little more.
A little bit more muted, a little bit more realistic looking as opposed to very bright, very colorful, very, because Sapienza, is a town that got all these yellow and red awnings and blue buildings and things like that. So they raised the saturation and the contrast a little bit, and everything just gets a lot more popping.
Yeah.
I personally think it's fine. It's whatever.
I want it to be more realistic when I'm playing as Hitman in a clown costume carrying a bat.
I actually really enjoyed the missions, and I really thought it was a good reason to go back to as good a reason as any to go back to and play some more Hitman. I think that, again, if you haven't owned Hitman before, that it's $60 for the entire bundle, technically, because this was technically it was an episodic game, right? So they're selling you all the episodes as a bundle, but I think that it works out pretty well. I think that Hitman still plays pretty wonderfully, and
we never didn't have a good time. Like, we always had a good time playing it.
Yep. So. I had a good time playing it as well. Yeah, so I think that's cool. I also beat Wolfenstein 2: The New Order last week, I think, after the podcast. I really enjoyed that game. I think that it was good. I think I already talked about pretty much everything that I had to say. There's some weird bullshit padding at the end of that game where after you beat the game, there's a thing where you pick up these cards from certain enemies and then you use them to unlock remix levels of Wolfenstein 2 to go back and do these assassination missions, and you work your way up to this final mission, and the final mission that you work your way up to is kind of like, well, that's disappointing. I mean, like, there's just nothing. It's not really, unless it's a callback to something that I don't remember or it's a reference to something that I don't understand. It was a very pedestrian mission, but I got about 20 hours out of that game. I like the storyline. I like shooting Nazis.
Yeah.
There were a couple of crazy things. It starts out very pedestrian, but then as it goes on, it gets better and better.
Up a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, mail@rageselect.com is the email address, and this week our first question comes in from Will. Will says, hello, Jeff and Amanda. Last week we got a new Overwatch animated short from Blizzard, Honor and Glory. Honor and Glory. I know a lot of people have expressed interest in watching an animated Overwatch Netflix series or movie. I'd be interested as well. However, I see two main problems with this. First, the number of Overwatch characters. Right now there are 26 playable characters, which is just too many for a 90-minute movie. Even an animated series would take multiple seasons to explore all these characters' backstories and lore. Second, what overall setting do you choose? Do you tell an Overwatch story before or after the organization was disbanded? Many of the characters changed before and after the fall of Overwatch. So my question is, if you were tasked with making some sort of big screen adaptation of the world of Overwatch, how would you do it? Would you go with a 90-minute movie and just focus on 2 or 3 characters? Would you go with an animated series and hope you can maintain viewership through multiple seasons to cover all the lore? Or would you go with some other approach? Thanks, Will.
I'd go full on Street Fighter movie where you have some main focuses and then but all the characters are in there.
Yeah.
Because I don't fucking want to do a story that revolves around Symmetra and her fucking history, or you know, I don't know. Like, I feel like you'd be better off just accepting what Reaper is instead of like going, hang on, let's do the backstory real quick. I mean, if you wanted to go forward, although I would probably go somewhere between after Overwatch was disbanded and before Overwatch is rebranded.
It's still not entirely clear to me in Overwatch why Talon is working with Overwatch.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Sombra's short, it seemed like Talon was doing, Widowmaker's short was very much like Talon's doing their own thing. I mean, I don't know if that was pre-New Omnic Crisis.
I feel like it's pre, but I'm not sure.
Or pre... So that would have taken place before Winston reactivated Overwatch. Anyway, when you pose this question, Will, I thought of something great, something brand new that's also very old. Think of Transformers, the animated series, where it's like, you know, instead of our current modern day, like everything's got to have an overarching plot and a meta plot that happens or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of that, but like, what's wrong with just like, there's Talon and there's Overwatch, and then like every week Talon's trying to do a thing, and then like this week it's about Symmetra, but the next week it's about Tracer and Winston, like going on an adventure, and then this week it's about the backstory of Reaper because him and Soldier 76 get caught in a cave and they don't have their weapons, and they're waiting to see whether Talon or Overwatch digs them out fast enough because they were both fighting Omnics and they got trapped under rubble or something like that.
And
you know,
there's just like one week of one episode that's just Junkrat and Roadhog.
Roadhog, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of lore in there of like letting there's plenty of lore in there to have a weekly. Just problem of the week instead of going back to this bullshit where everything's got to have your like overarching meta narrative.
Too much going on.
You know, like the Castlevania Netflix series, or I mean, obviously it's stuff like Stranger Things, but like everything has to now have a meta arc, and then like individual episodes have a focus, right? Even Star Trek, which traditionally is a series that has. I guess the Orville is still doing just like I haven't watched more than 3 or 4 episodes of that, but
I'm only 3 episodes in.
But I think that would be the perfect format for Overwatch, of just like every week we got a different character, you know?
Yeah.
Like this week it's a Zarya episode, and like, what happened at Volstock after Sombra left, and I
would also be super excited about just like 15-minute shorts. Where it's really just enough time to play out a joke or play out like a serious moment, but without giving us too much like story or too much. I feel like they've already done it in a lot of ways, because like Sombra's
short wasn't a backstory about Sombra.
Yeah.
You know, Winston's short had some of that, but it was also about Reaper and Talon trying to steal info from Overwatch. Or, you know, like Widowmaker's story obviously could have been expanded into a 30-minute episode.
Yeah.
That was more than just that one thing where they talked about the Omnic preacher guy or whatever, and you know, also. I forgot to bring this up, but in Moira's backstory video, there's one of those Omnic guys that had like metal hair like plastered on top of his like Omnic.
Yeah.
I'm like, and he's in a suit. I'm like, you're not fooling anybody, Zenyatta. Take the hair off.
No, I'm human.
And heal the team.
Yeah.
Embrace toupees. But I think that would
fashion
totally work. I think that you could also make an argument for you're going to go and make a movie. You make it like Civil War, but then you have a lot of different people. You're never going to be able to focus on everybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, stay in your seat. Cut out Junkrat and Roadhog because they don't deal with the Omnic stuff. They're more of their own thing, right? You know,
they could actually have their own separate movie.
Sure.
Like their short was great.
Yeah. In fact, I don't even was that wasn't even
one.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that wasn't even like a story short, right? That was just like a little like haha, because
no, but it does kind of it gives you a little bit of a story of them getting kicked out and them trying to find a way to get back in. Well, to get back in to get revenge. But
have you been playing Overwatch?
No.
Oh, is Junkertown live?
I don't know.
It has to be, right?
Well, I played all of Halloween, and then
because Blizzard World is on the PTR right now, I think.
So maybe that's coming out in a second, maybe, or it's already out. I don't know.
Anyway, so that is the answer. Will I say do it like Transformers or GI Joe? GI Joe would be a perfect, a better analog, right? Is you know, this week it's Snowblind and Roadblock, right? Having a little thing. Just like that. And it would be perfect because you could have a bunch of faceless Talon dudes, and then you also have Omnics out there that you can just blow up every week, right? So nobody has to get killed. Just make it that stupid family. Like, how is it that G.I. Joe is a movie about dudes shooting rockets and bullets and lasers at each other all day, every day, and then nobody actually dies in that show?
Because it's a kid show.
Sure.
And they're bad shots.
Sure. Whiskey Wolf writes in and says, "Hey guys, Whiskey Wolf here. Greetings from rainy Baltimore. It's been a very good year for Nintendo. They got the Switch off the ground and Breath of the Wild and kept it in gear with Mario Odyssey, but I'm not seeing many premium titles lined up for release next year. Given how stagnant the sales of the Wii U became without third-party support, what would you do if you were in charge at Nintendo to keep building the Switch's momentum? All the best, Whiskey Wolf."
Put money in indie games.
You think so?
Yeah, man. I think you want to be the company that has, you want to be the console that has the next Five Nights or the next Cuphead or the next Bendy. You know what I mean? Like, you definitely want to be the console that has that.
I'm trying to think because I honestly, let's see what we've got for 2018. I actually thought there was more stuff. Okay, never mind. That was a bad article that I pulled up.
Yep.
Let's see. Because I actually thought that there was a fair amount for 2018. So 2018, we got Kirby. Yoshi. Let's see. Xenoblade's coming out this year. Splatoon's already out. Metroid Prime 4. That Pokemon RPG that they're making.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. You know, to be honest, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing, Nintendo's been actually working really hard at getting stuff out. So I actually feel like they already actually have a lot of stuff. You know, that golf RPG game. There's that new game for the Retro City Rampage guys, I believe, coming out. Doom is coming out, and LA Noire is coming out. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is coming out. I mean, they still have like 8 games before the year is out. Like, I already feel like this year has already had enough Wii U or Switch exclusives that makes the first year of the Wii U look like garbage. Like a new Zelda game and a new Mario game in the same year.
Yeah.
And next year we've got a new Metroid game coming out. Like, holy shit. That's a lot for Nintendo. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a new Pikmin game soon. To be honest, I feel like Nintendo, if they can just keep the hits coming, is going to be good. I mean, let's be here. Here's the thing, Whiskey Wolf. I read an article one time about how when Nintendo put out Pokemon for the original Game Boy, their sales of the original Game Boy doubled. I don't think that you can underestimate how titanic it is to have a new Pokemon game coming out on the Switch.
Yeah. And
not just that, but the other thing is that after this holiday season, even going into next year, the Switch still is fairly available, right? But not as widely. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw stock run low during the Christmas time. But the thing about the Switch that's different than the Wii U is that for the first year and a half to 2 years of the Wii U, people be like, should I buy a Wii U? And I'd be like, nah, there's like 3 games. But like, if you buy the Switch now, you're getting a Mario game and a Zelda game.
You're getting multiple Mario games.
Right now.
Because you're getting Mario Rabbids. You can even get Mario Kart.
Best version of Mario Kart that's been out there. This week they put Hulu on the Switch.
Fucking finally, man. Yeah. We've been waiting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, Splatoon 2 is great. I feel like the thing is that there's another vector for enticing consumers to buy your console that doesn't get as much credit, and that is having things on your console where people are like, God damn, I want to Switch. Like, look at all these games. I want to play all these games. So that you're buying a Switch not necessarily because Skyrim is coming out on the Switch, which also should not be underestimated, because the ability to play Skyrim on an airplane, what the shit, Lana? Like, that is... That's been my dream for years. I always said that I thought the Vita would have sold like crazy if they just would have put Skyrim on.
New Monkey Paw wishes for Jeff.
Yes.
Private plane.
Yes.
Play Skyrim on that plane.
Play Skyrim on that plane.
And then free Taco Bell for life.
Free Taco Bell for life. Yes, that's those are my only
Taco Bell on the plane. Tired of these motherfucking tacos on my motherfucking plane.
I think that what you're seeing or what you're detecting, Whiskey Wolf, as far as like the lack of release plans, is actually kind of that there's a story that I'm sorry, I'm trying to really get this. I'm trying to look stuff up at the same time that I'm saying this, but there's a story last week that said that third-party developers are currently scrambling to put together Switch games because they didn't expect the Switch to sell, because they thought it was going to be another Wii U. And now, looking at the install base of how fast the Switch has sold in less than a year, they are now working like rapidly to try to get up to speed to get stuff onto the Switch. Yeah. Because
that way, like, so a lot of third party are just trying to adapt older games to the Switch so that they have something on there while they're working on something to be on there. Does that make sense?
Yes. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of I'm trying to look at stuff, and I'm just having a hard time coming up with any good lists for this.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know that there are a lot of good lists, and I think that it's because they've announced through the end of the year, and that in January we'll start to see a Nintendo Direct of just like, here's all about the next thing.
Yeah.
They haven't disappointed.
I want a goddamn Luigi's Mansion on the Switch. I want it.
It's not enough for you to fuck it up with Kirby's and Yoshi's. Now we got to have Luigi. That's like
I like Luigi's Mansion, you son of a bitch. I want to play the game.
The trifecta of my least liked Nintendo characters.
Good, not for you.
Triforce.
Just for me.
Yeah.
My Triforce.
I'd like to see an Ace Attorney game on the Switch, like a fully 3D like big kind of Ace Attorney thing come to that. But I don't know. I think that they're doing fine. Like, they're not showing any signs of like being in trouble.
I think it's more of like a slow and steady. They're not like 20 games out right now, let's do this. I mean, though they do have a decent amount of games out, but they've been coming out fairly spread out.
Yeah.
So it might seem like there's not a lot, but there is, and it's they're all like hits every time. So just let it be slow and consistent. I'd rather them do that than be like a bunch of rapid fire shitty games.
Or a lot of just ports of garbage indie games that you don't care about.
Yeah, but no, seriously, they should definitely focus on doing some indie stuff, because I think that's...
They did. there was a lot of indie stuff that got ported to the Wii U, and I feel like it didn't really.
Yeah, but like good indie stuff or like whatever indie stuff.
Kind of depends on what you're talking about when it comes to good indie stuff.
Well, I mean, they need to try to find the next big like indie game. Like I honestly, like I said, Five Nights or Bendy or Cuphead are big ones too. They're not console winners. They're not like they're gonna sell all the consoles, but I think that having those kinds of titles attached to your thing is really to your console is important.
I think that you're probably going to see...
Although a Five Nights would work because you got a fucking second screen and you can use that for your battery life stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, they don't...
What you're playing on the screen.
I know, but still.
You use a touch screen. It's already on phones. I think that what you're probably going to see is probably going to be difficult in that range is that Nintendo's a very... Japanese, very conservative company, and that they probably are still just like...
They put the Binding of Isaac on their game.
Yeah. I think that they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think that them having enough focus to be able to scoop something that where you're just like, holy shit, you know. I wonder about that.
Yeah.
I wonder about that. All right, this next one comes in from, I'm going to say, A, who says, hey, Jeff and Amanda, these days we have to deal with shitty business practices like microtransactions, loot boxes, overpriced DLC with too little content, etc. This leads some to say video games as a whole have been getting worse, and they yearn for the golden age of the PS2 or whichever era they prefer. My question is, do you agree that video games are getting worse, or do you think overall that they are better? And thank you. And that's from A. They didn't sign it, so I'm just going to use an initial.
I think AAA games that are older franchises or like long-standing franchises might not be getting better, but there are plenty of good games coming out. Like, I haven't exactly been disappointed this year.
The answer to your question is both.
Yeah.
We get games like Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, which I felt like was a really fun single-player focused game. And then we also get stuff like Shadow of War or where, you got this weird padding at the end of the game to try to sell you stuff. Or take your pick, right?
Yeah.
There have been great games. There have been okay games. There have been everything in between this year.
Yeah.
Bubsy
alone. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't you fucking talk to me about that. You say Crash Bandicoot, but I mean, we got Mario. We got a new Mario and Zelda game, as we were just talking about this year. We also got. I'm trying to think of all the different. It's hard for me to think of like what came out at the beginning of 2017.
Go straight into 2016 on accident.
Let's see. Here's my list. I thought Resident Evil 7 still stands out as
for sure,
really good game this year.
Horizon Zero Dawn was
Horizon Zero Dawn. Yep.
Cuphead, I just talked about it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I know you and John like the Fracture Butthole, right?
Yep. I enjoyed that. Let's see. Legends of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata. What I played of it seemed like it was very good.
We're currently playing Evil Within 2.
Yep, which I think is very good. Let's not forget Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash. Amanda,
that came out this year.
Yes,
it was magic.
Dark Souls 3: The Ring City came out this year, which is kind of putting a cap on that, even though I was kind of like about that. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Let's not forget PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds came out this year, right? Which has been like the new thing that is getting massive amounts of players and attention. Persona 5. I'm just looking through. Bayonetta and Vanquish both came out on the PC this year, which I think was pretty cool. So I'm just really trying to briefly run through here. Prey came out. Injustice 2 came out. Those were both really good.
Or Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah,
that was really good. That was a legitimately good game.
Yep. I've had a lot of fun with a lot of the VR stuff that's come out this year.
Mm-hmm. There was one where you and John made hamburgers for zombies.
That was so fun. That was so much fun.
Stupid.
Yeah.
In like good way.
I mean, Destiny 2 also came out this year. Absolver, which I really liked, came out this year. There's just been a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of games that have come out this year, and I feel like a lot of them have been very good. Even the smaller things like Heat Signature, that one from the guy that made Gunpoint. I played the shit out of that.
Yeah.
There's just been a lot of really fun stuff, and I feel like it's a good time. Now that doesn't mean that there aren't
problems. Yeah, of course.
But there's always problems. In the PS2 era, like anybody who looks back fondly on the PS2 era, yes, the PS2 era, it was cheaper and there were more games, but there was also a shitload of crap-ass video games that came out in the PS2 era. Don't let nostalgia make you think that it was all like rainbows and rainbows and
hey girl, you want to check out my rainbow
unicrowns, rainbows and unicrowns. I mean, the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, there was good stuff and there was bad stuff. There's always good stuff and there's always bad stuff.
Yeah,
it's easier to focus on the bad stuff.
Take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have
the game industry,
the gaming industry,
the gaming industry. Yeah, so take it with a grain of salt. I mean, there's the nice thing about video games that I feel like is that let's say you're fed up with AAA bullshit games, right? Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna let you in a little secret. It's not a satisfying secret. It's a secret that I've said before. But listen, find 3 big RPGs like The Witcher, Persona. Pick your third one, right?
Yeah.
Stuff that's 80 to 90 hours long, all right? Buy those games and be like this, and maybe throw in like Overwatch, right? Something you can play indefinitely.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're going to say, this year, I'm going to play every side quest. I'm going to play The Witcher 3, like all of it. And then I'm going to play Persona 5, all of it. When I get tired of those games, I'm going to play Overwatch in between. And let that take up your entire year. Play for a few hours a day, play on the weekend, whatever. If you can get a year behind and just buy like the Game of the Year edition, Star Wars Battlefront 1, as you said, $100 with like the $60 and then the $50 season pass, right? $110. Earlier this year, I saw it on sale on the PlayStation Network for $20 for that whole thing.
Yeah.
If you can just get behind, like let's say that you're like, oh, that Hitman DLC doesn't seem like it's worth $20. Well, of course it's not. But if you have a problem with the price of games, wait.
Yeah.
Buy Assassin's Creed Syndicate now. Let's see. Let me just open up Steam and see like what just like right now on Steam, what does it cost to buy the last Assassin's Creed game that came out? Creed Assassin.
Ass in. Creed
Syndicate.
Syndicate
is $40 right now.
Yeah,
which is not
Yeah, and if you wait a couple more weeks, you're gonna hit like Black Friday sale.
Oh, and a winter sale.
And stuff. Yeah.
But if you just
get them cheap ass games,
if you just stick to sales stuff and you buy stuff a year past that, everything is cheap. You can game for super cheap.
Yeah.
It's just if you want to keep up with everything that's happening right this goddamn second, then you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
And
get a what's it called? It's like Netflix for games, GameFly.
Oh, GameFly subscription, yeah.
Live that life.
Sure, do that. Yeah. Find yourself somebody who buys a lot of games who, you can do like game sharing or whatever on like Steam and PS4 and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that in a lot of ways, if you want to combat the way that this game bullshit is happening, buy the Injustice 2 Complete Edition when it inevitably comes out next February or March, instead of buying the $60 game and then paying an additional $20 for the DLC. Just wait for the whole fucking thing to be out and then buy that. Buy, anything. Buy Doom now for $20.
And
great
for
game.
Fuck's sake, enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah. Buy
and
stuff.
Watch our Let's Play of it. We did an entire sequential.
It's true.
Yeah, and there's the full playlist is up on the YouTube, so you can just.
It's almost like you have a pride in these playlists
that I made.
Yes.
One person made a request, and within 3 hours of them making that request, I had that playlist made for them.
That's customer service.
253 videos made into a playlist.
Damn. Well, shit.
So there.
All right. Let's see. We got some more time here.
Do it.
Danger Dave says, "Howdy, Rageroonies. I've got a gripe. I like to play some of my games on super hard mode. Call it hell mode, legendary, or what have you. It is the setting higher than hard available on some video games. However, oftentimes." It's one or the other, Dave. Oftentimes, this setting is not available until after you've beaten the entire game. I do get it. They're trying to increase replayability, but the moment my preferred mode of play is unlocked is the moment in time that I am least eager to play the game from the beginning. Capiche? Some games, I specifically remember this happening in our Dead Space and BioShock Infinite. To clarify, I'm not saying I want games to be way harder. Some genres I'm quite poor at, and I appreciate the option to dumb it down for my noobitude, which is a great word. But I would like all the difficulty options open from the get-go. Will game designers hear my plea? Fond regards, Danger Dave. P.S. Spend a few hours a day at the gym, and it can get quite tedious. I really appreciate being able to count on your podcast once a week to entertain me while I'm pumping the old iron.
I'm getting yoked.
Keep up the sexcellent work, Danger Dave.
Man, am I going to use that word more often.
Sexcellent. Yeah. Dave, I got I personally don't play on super hard difficulty level, but I do know what you're talking about. There's plenty of games where you load it up and you're like, what's your difficulty level? And I was a little locked by super hard.
Yeah. I mean, technically you can do the thing we just talked about, and you can buy the game, play the game through, and then just move on to other games, and then later on go like, you know what, I kind of want to play that game again.
You know, I feel like in this case I'm very much on Dave's side, because there's a lot of games where you really only want to play through them one time. Yeah. And especially games that don't have a hell of a lot of replay value. It's like you're going to play through it once, and then you're going to need to like let it out, like 2 or 3 years go by to let let it percolate out of your mind and go, you know what? I really always wanted to play Doom on Nightmare Inferno level, you know? Yeah. Personally, I think it's kind of bullshit. I mean, I think that unlocking that stuff after you play through the game,
it's kind of a weird thing to lock behind the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I think that you should start if you want game designers to hear your plea, though, you
cuss them out on Twitter.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe leave their games negative Steam reviews. Go onto Reddit. Start a group on Reddit that's like, we want our fucking games, our legendary difficulty level unlocked from the beginning. Yeah. I don't want to play your game twice. I want to play it one time. I don't want to play on the hardest difficulty level that I can. Yeah.
That's weird. It's like requiring you to read a book over again when you just finished reading the book.
Yep. Yeah. And it's in some ways, okay, so here's the only time that I can understand that is like in Diablo, there's a thing where the higher difficulty levels also grant you better loot and more experience. So the harder your game is, the more XP and loot that you get, and you can actually change that difficulty on the fly. That I enjoy. That I think, that I can understand why you might lock that behind your first playthrough, because if you've tuned your campaign for a normal new player coming into it, you might want them to try to go through first. And with something like Diablo, which does have a hell of a lot of replay value because it's all randomized, yeah, there is, I think it's okay when your game has a super is very well tuned and something that you want to come back to over and over again. Yeah, not so much in just like Wolfenstein keeps the highest difficulty level locked until you beat the game one time, and it's kind of like, well, that's bullshit. I'm also a big fan of New Game Plus. I figure I like games that have upgrade systems to let me do a New Game Plus. Wolfenstein has a whole bunch of upgrades. Can't do a New Game Plus. What you can do, strangely enough, is if you load a previous save at the very beginning of the game, you get to drag all your perks with you. You don't get to drag like weapon upgrades, but you get to drag like walk faster, get 20% more ammo. All
that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I was like,
that almost sounds like a glitch and not a like on purpose thing.
I'm starting to wonder if that's the case.
That's kind of funny.
But yeah, the other thing that I really like is I've just been listening to the guys who used to do Bonfireside Chat do a show called Watch Out for Fireballs. They were talking about I listened to their show on Bastion and their show on Transistor. And Bastion and Transistor are actually really interesting because both of those games have modifiers that you could turn on that basically make the enemies harder, but then give you more experience points for beating them. And so it's a customizable difficulty level that you can be like, let me try this one. That's too hard, but I would like to turn this one on because I want to get 10% more XP. Yeah. Which I think is really good. But yeah, unfortunately, Danger Dave, I mean, the way that from all the stuff that we were talking about earlier with like loot boxes and bullshit, I don't know anybody who's just like, woo, loot boxes, yeah. Yeah. You have to make some kind of fucking horrible ruckus to get anything done in the gaming industry, or at least bring it up as a thing. Yeah. All right, got a couple more questions here. This one comes in from Matt. Matt says, howdy, Jeff and honorable co-host. Black Friday is coming up. Seeing some deals on both PlayStation and Xbox. Thinking of getting into trying to play some games. My last gaming device was an original Nintendo back in the 80s. Woo!
I'm with you, brother.
I have no loyalty to any system. I use PlayStation Vue for my TV, but that's it. I don't have any Windows or other Microsoft devices. Wow. No children in the vicinity to be an issue. Needed a more friendly to be an issue if I needed a more friendly Nintendo system. Any advice on purchases would be welcome. Thanks for all the fun and entertaining content. Rage Select has worked its way into our daily conversation here. I was giving a speech about moving on to new ideas and overcoming adversity to a big group. I didn't even realize I was referencing Tiny Circles by name a few times. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone at Rage Select and my fellow select few. Matt. Amanda, what do you think about this?
Well, I'm partial to Xbox, but if I'm recommending like a console for somebody to get into, I'd probably just say go for the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. What is it about the Xbox that you like? I'm not asking that as like a shit question. Right? What do you even like about the Xbox?
I honestly don't know. It's something that's just always clicked with me better than a PlayStation. Even if it's just the controller, I feel like I know from the get-go, a lot of people that never liked Xbox's controllers because they're kind of bigger, but I've always personally loved them. I don't like PlayStation's controllers like, at all. I feel like they're not balanced right for me, and my wrists actually hurt playing PlayStation for long periods of time.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. What about the Switch?
I haven't played long hours with the Switch, so I can't say, because when we got the Switch I was well into being sick and I just couldn't focus in on things like playing video games.
Fair enough.
But and like just I know a lot of people, I don't know, it's just weird, like just the whole interface for the Xbox clicks better for me.
Really?
But in general, as far as gameplay, I think they play exactly the same. I don't care about graphics enough that I'm like, oh, PlayStation has 2.5 more pixels, I'm gonna play PlayStation over the Xbox or whatever.
Well, at this point the Xbox One X is out, so
yeah. So but either way, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not a graphics person. Like, you could be squares and triangles and I'd be like, shit.
Sorry,
yeah,
that's graphics, please.
I'd kill me.
Sorry.
So I have no loyalties one way or another, but unless there's a specific console exclusive game that you care about, I would probably just go with a PlayStation.
Yeah, that's really a lot of times where it comes down to. I'll give you the same speech that I've given a lot of people over the years. I prefer the PlayStation controller. That's just because I was a PS1, PS2, PS3. Like, PS1 and PS2 were great consoles, and then I moved to the PS3 out of loyalty, which was a mistake. I should have gone Xbox 360, but whatever. Lesson learned. The main
don't be loyal. They're not loyal to you.
That's true. That's very true. Well, see,
or buy all the consoles and be happy.
Here's the thing. I'm not loyal to PlayStation. Actually, let me rephrase this. I was not loyal to PlayStation. I was loyal to Hideo Kojima. And Metal Gear Solid 4 was coming out on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
It was an exclusive, and I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting. But, okay, a couple things to take into account. One, do you have friends that you would like to game with? It doesn't sound like it from your email. It doesn't sound like you already have a bunch of console people.
It doesn't sound like it referencing us in regular conversation.
Yeah. But if you have a friend group that you would like to play online games with, that's worth considering, right?
Yeah.
The difference between, playing on the PS4 by yourself or the Xbox One with your friends, right?
Yeah, it was a big deal to play Overwatch on PlayStation because all our friends are on PlayStation, because I would play everything on Xbox. So now anytime I play multiplayer games, it's got to be on the PlayStation.
The other is the other factor. A controller is a big thing. Like, if you haven't ever played a controller before, it's worth just holding them to see kind of how you feel about them.
Yeah.
The new PS4 controllers, the triggers, I've finally gotten used to them, but at first they kind of hurt my fingers because of the way they dip outwards. But I like the PS4 controller.
John got a fucking custom Xbox controller, and it's like fancy magic. It's green and got
the custom ones. Yeah.
He put these fucking rubber grips on them.
Okay.
I can't play it.
Really?
I don't like it. I'm like, God damn it, I'm gonna have to buy my own fucking custom controller.
Didn't it used to be on the old days on like the Xbox 360? You had like, you could put your gamer profile on your controller. And
John has his gamer tag on his fucking controller.
Anyway,
I want mine to just say something stupid.
The custom controller?
Hardcore something dumb. I just wanted to be like, poop. That's it. With like O's and zeros.
Yeah. POO00OOP.
Like, why? I just want some poor person to have to engrave that into my controller.
Computers do that.
Yeah. Some poor computer has to lower its standards for me.
Now, here's where I get a little a little less partisan. So
get a PC.
No, I'm not going to go that far. Matt, I would say unless there's something on the Xbox One that is very appealing to you, like unless you're like, fucking, I love Halo and Gears of War, which it sounds like it's not because you're not a console gamer. Your last console was a Nintendo. I honestly feel like right now the PS4 is a better choice just because their exclusives tend to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're an Xbox fan and you're listening to this, let me finish real fast before you start typing your angry comment. But, you know, you got Uncharted, you got Horizon Zero Dawn, you know, the things like that. But then the other thing is that the PlayStation 4 just has all this, like, dross that you can't get on the Xbox One. Senran Kagura is on the PS4. There's all these like NIS JRPGs that are on there. There's all these weirdo indie games. Let's say that you decide that you want to take VR for a spin and they drop the price on the PS VR. Like Xbox One doesn't have a VR solution right now. And it's not just that. It's the problem that the Xbox One doesn't have a shitload of stuff coming that seems like it's going to be a reason to own that console.
I feel as somebody like getting back into gaming or even like a new gamer, this is the most inclusive package is to go with PlayStation.
I agree.
And again, I choose Xbox. I like Xbox better. But whenever I talk to people about what to get, I suggest PlayStation. I just feel like in general, it's just a better, you have a lot more options available to you through PlayStation.
Yeah, I think that if you're just entering into the ecosystem that the PlayStation gives you, like you said, a lot more options. You know, the only other reason though, actually, you know what? Let's not go completely off the rails just yet, because there is one solid reason to buy an Xbox One over a PS4 that I just thought of that I forgot. Backwards compatibility is that if you didn't have the last generation and you want to go back and you want to play some old Xbox 360 games like Red Dead Redemption, like you can't play Red Dead Redemption on your PS4, but Jason and I play it every week on the Xbox One because the 360 version of Red Dead Redemption is backwards compatible on the Xbox One.
Don't look backwards, just look forwards. Let's not. So what you do is if you wanted to play Red Dead Redemption, you just go on YouTube to the playlist of Jeff and Jason play Red Dead Redemption. And you watch that instead.
Let's see. Let's just see. Wait, hold on. I want to see what the list is right now. Xbox One, backwards compatibility list. I mean, they've kept expanding it. So, like, I think that it's actually kind of interesting. Oh, that's okay. So, let's see. Here's the Xbox, and they just recently started adding OG Xbox games as well. Nice. So, like. That's kind of big, right? Like I
just feel like that's a lot to throw on somebody. Like, yeah, Xbox is great with the backwards compatibility. I'm all for it. I've definitely benefited from it. But
BioShock, Batman.
Are you really gonna go back and play past? Like, I better catch up on my history. Or are you just gonna play the new games that you want to play? Do you know what I mean? That's a lot either way.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, if you're looking at stuff going forward, then that's maybe not a thing. But it is one thing that PlayStation so far has kind of dug in their heels about not. They've got the stupid streaming thing that doesn't work very well. But I don't know. At the end of the day, I think that we've also kind of discounted the Switch. But if you haven't owned a game console in a long time, I maybe would not suggest the Switch as a first I feel like the Switch is a great second console, but I don't think I'd want it as my primary. Like, it just got Hulu. Like, I want both the Xbox and the PlayStation. I can rent movies and
just because
watch Netflix.
If you're trying to jump in on like what's the popular games, even though Nintendo has exclusive popular games, they don't necessarily have all the like you would kind of cut yourself out of a lot of console conversations with the Switch as of right now. Maybe next year or so, like you'll a little more stuff will be ported over. But
Crackdown, Sea of Thieves,
Crackdown's still happening.
I feel like I get the feeling though that game might bomb. It's like they haven't showed us it in a while.
Duke Nukem Forever a little bit.
I don't know. What I do know is that fucking Far Cry 5 isn't a no. There's
He's just making stuff up.
This list is stupid.
Like one person tweeted one time, and then a developer liked that tweet.
State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3, and Sea of Thieves, and of those, the fact that both Crackdown and State of Decay are sequels mean that you probably don't have any investment in those franchises to begin with, so you're not just like, ooh, can't wait for that new Crackdown game. And I don't know that I don't get the impression that Crackdown is going to be a big old thing on its own. Yeah. So at the end of the day, Matt, those are the reasons that I would say probably a PS4, if that's your first one. And if I were you, I'd probably just shell out for a Pro if you're going to be getting one.
Yeah.
Just because.
Also, it's a Blu-ray player.
Yeah, it's a Blu-ray player.
Isn't
Netflix,
that nice?
Hulu, everything. Sign up for that fucking rewards program, and every time you rent a movie, you get a few points, and eventually you get some credit. And last but not least, this is an interesting question from Steven. Steven writes in and says, "G'day, Jeff and Amanda. Taco Bell has opened its doors in Australia for the third time. What happened the first two times? You guys just run them out?
Yeah.
They run out of gasoline?
Get out of here.
Luckily, I live within walking distance of the new store.
Nice.
So my question is, what should I order for my first time?
Oh,
and is there anything that I should avoid?
Oh, shit.
Cheers, Steven.
Order all of it. Avoid all of it.
Order all of it and then throw it all in the trash. All right, so...
Oh, man. What's your go-to order?
Right now, what I get at Taco Bell, which actually I've been really scared myself last week reading about diabetes, so I'm not going to Taco Bell in a little while. But before that, I mean,
Taco Bell is one of the most healthy fast food restaurants, so...
What?
It is, yeah.
How so?
Because it's totally customizable, and it's not as carb heavy as like a burger place with deep fried French fries and bread.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you can get everything fresco style to remove cheese, add more veggies on it.
Oh, okay.
So, boom.
Well, there you go. Okay, so what I usually get when I go to Taco Bell is I get whatever the $5 combo is.
So the reason why that works out is because often you get multiple things. So you get like a chalupa and a quesadilla and a regular taco and
it's usually
a burrito.
Whatever the current weird menu thing du jour is, plus a regular taco, plus a Doritos Locos taco. But if I go down the menu and I think of the things that you should probably try at Taco Bell, Doritos Locos taco, that's really interesting.
You got to try at least once.
Yep. Bean burrito, a staple of Jeff's diet for years. They're cheap as fuck.
I hate their bean burritos.
Yeah. Let's see.
So I used to live off of the 7-layer burrito when I used to work at a Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And then I also like they have like a crispy potato like griller, which is literally I can't eat it anymore. It's just like potatoes, cheese and tortilla, so it's like carbs on carbs and cheese. I really used to like the Mexican pizza. I can't eat half of this stuff anymore, so it's like but I like the Mexican pizza, but like personally I just go in and get tacos now.
The cheesy gordita crunch is that's a pretty good one.
Is it?
It's like a taco supreme, but then they take a gordita and they put cheese on it and wrap it around the outside, so it's like two. There's also a double decker taco, I think.
I used to be all about
there's a Doritos Loco cheesy gordita crunch.
Oh no!
Holy God! I didn't understand. I didn't know.
How could I have known?
True love was.
But for real, like Taco Bell is so fairly cheap that you can try quite a few things. Don't get the crunch wraps. They're not fucking good.
They're okay if they're cheap.
Yeah.
There used to be a thing where you got like 2 Crunchwrap sliders and then like 2 tacos for $5.
Yeah,
that was fine.
But I just don't feel like they're worth what you're paying for it.
You got to try a nachos, probably nachos Bel Grande. You should probably try a what was the other thing? An enchilito. Enchilito is pretty good.
Yeah.
What the hell was I just thinking? The chalupas are interesting. It was like super buttery shell on them.
Gross. If you just want to try all the ingredients at once, get one of their nachos, because that's literally like rice, bean, cheese, meat.
Yeah.
That's a weird way to end this and be like,
just
now
get
I'm
it all.
hungry. Yeah.
Just get it all.
No, I honestly think Jeff's right, though. Go for like whatever the $5 box is. It's cheap. You get a shit ton of food.
Oh, well, see what I do.
And you can try a bunch of different stuff.
What I do is get the $5 box, and then I get 2 things from the dollar menu. So then I'll get the $5 box, and I'll get like a cheesy bean and rice burrito and like a potato soft taco to go along with that. And then it's like $7, and you've got all the food in the world, and you're going to be sick for a day because fuck you, Taco Bell.
First, get drunk. Then go to Taco Bell and order all that food.
I disagree. The last thing you want is a hangover from Taco Bell as well as a hangover from booze.
Not that drunk. Just drunk enough that Taco Bell is good.
Oh. Taco Bell's always good.
Yeah, that's true. Now I want Taco Bell.
It's always good.
Upset.
Right up until the moment that the last bite goes down your throat, and then you're like, what have I done?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's good up until the guilt you feel afterwards.
Yep.
I'm a monster.
I'm a monster. And that is our show for this week. I hope you all have enjoyed it. mail@rageselect.com is the email address for you to write into. Amanda, thanks for coming back this week for another podcast. Let us know what you think of everything. And I think that should we just go to Taco Bell, like press our faces up against the glass?
Yeah,
and, like,
please open.
Yeah.